It's a busy Friday morning in the African city of Nairobi. Then, the air is shattered by a huge explosion. A bomb detonates outside the American embassy, demolishing a 7-story building and causing massive damage. Worst terrorist attack ever to hit the African continent. Now, using advanced computer simulations, we reveal exactly what happened and who was behind this attack. Disasters don't just happen. They're a chain of critical events. Unravel the clues and count down those final seconds from disaster. Africa, Kenya, Nairobi, the heart of Central East Africa. This is one of the largest cities in the region. In 1998, Prudence Bushnell is the US ambassador to Kenya. She works at the US Embassy in central Nairobi. Like all American embassies, it's built to be tough. The walls are made of reinforced concrete. It stands 5 stories tall, and it's capable of withstanding an earthquake. It's the largest US embassy in the region. Next door, a 7-story office block called the Ufundi building is filled with 400 Kenyan office workers every day. And towering over everything is the Cooperative Bank, 21 stories high and a local landmark. August the 7th, 1998. At 7:15 in the morning, George Mimba says goodbye to his wife Nancy. He's an IT technician at the US Embassy. On the outskirts of Nairobi, 2 men board a truck and leave the suburbs for the American Embassy. By 9:30 a.m., the city streets are busy. At the back of the embassy, security guard Joash Okindo guards his position at the rear gate. He holds the key to this entrance. A drop barrier in front of the gate prevents cars from coming up to the entrance. Inside, George Mimba heads up to his office. 5 to 10. And inside the Ufundi building, next to the embassy, scrap metal merchant Sami Nyana walks to his office on the 1st floor. He's worried about the important meeting he has today. At the top of the cooperative tower, Prudence Bushnell observes a meeting between the Kenyan Trade Minister and 2 of her colleagues from the US Department of Commerce. 10:10, the truck reaches the embassy. A man leaps from the passenger seat and shouts at the guards to open the gate. Joash says he doesn't have the key to the gate, even though it's in his pocket, and he has to call someone to get it. The passenger from the truck returns to the driver and talks to him, unaware that Joash can hear everything they're saying.
They don't have keys.
This fella spoke with the driver and told him, this fella has no keys. Talk to him calmly. If he refuses, use your pistol.
Now, Joash knows the embassy is under attack.
Run!
The driver pulls a gun. His accomplice hurls a grenade. George thinks it's an earth trouble. Sammy rushes to his office window to see what's going on. Up in the cooperative tower, the commotion interrupts Prudence Bushnell's meeting. George, Sammy, and Prudence. 3 people among hundreds alerted by the noise. Then the driver steers the truck straight at the fence. As rescuers arrive, they're confronted by a horrific scene. The force of the blast brings the Ufundi building crashing to the ground. Next door, at the top of the cooperative tower, Prudence Bushnell comes to. As she staggers down the stairs, she sees bloody and injured people everywhere.
I think to myself, I just need to get out of this building and back to my embassy, and I will be all right.
But as she steps outside, she realizes that things are far from all right.
What I'm seeing are shards of glass, twisted steel, and the back of my embassy, which is missing.
Beneath the rubble of the Ufundi building, scrap metal merchant Sami Nyana strikes a match and finds that he's trapped in an air pocket just over 1 meter square. He realizes that the building has collapsed. His legs are broken, and the only thing that stopped him from being crushed to death is the stairwell. In the front section of the embassy, George Mimber comes round. He's concussed and completely confused. He recognizes a familiar face in the darkness. George tries to pull his friend out of the rubble, but the man's head comes off in his hands. George goes over the edge.
I say we are all dying here, and so it's needless trying to escape.
A member of the Luo tribe, George believes that a body must be viewed before the death is accepted. So in his confused state, George's only concern is to get to a place where his father can find his body. Eventually, he reaches the edge of the building. From his vantage point on the first floor, he can see the carnage all around.
Either the world has come to an end, or Nairobi as a town has been bombed.
While dazed survivors stumble around the wreckage, it becomes clear to the world that this is not an isolated event.
Good morning, everyone. As we are reporting, massive explosions at 2 U.S. embassies in East African countries this morning.
The Americans go into full lockdown siege mode. No one is allowed into either embassy except to help the injured. Among the victims is security guard Joash Okindo. Although he survives the blast, the collapse of the Ufundi building engulfs him in debris and his legs break in several places. He's dragged from the rubble and carried to safety. Beneath the rubble, Sami Nyana can hear them working above. Suddenly, he hears shouting.
Hello?
It's another survivor, trapped nearby. It's Rose, the tea lady from the Ufundi building. She was making tea during the collapse, and boiling water splashed all over her, burning her face. George survives without serious injury, but he's still in a state of shock. As he takes in the devastation around him, he realizes what he must do.
These are my people. I've left everybody I know in the building. I have to go in.
He makes his way back to his wrecked office.
Hello? Hey, I'm coming.
He hears a voice,
Hold on.
a woman calling his name. He fumbles through the darkness, feeling for survivors. At last, one of them moves. George helps his stricken colleague out of the rubble, only to realize later that he's rescued a man, not the woman who cried out to him. But he can't go back for her, because the stairs have collapsed. George's heroism was captured on film. To this day, he doesn't know the name of the woman who called out to him. The moment still haunts him.
The voice comes very clearly now. And she called out my name. Why did I have to let her die? That is one thing I will never, ever forgive myself.
August 8th, 10:39 a.m. 24 hours after the disaster, hundreds of rescuers are still hunting for survivors. They've located Sammy, calling for help in the basement, and tunnel towards him. After 36 hours of digging, they finally break through to where Sammy is trapped. It's much more difficult to rescue Rose. She's trapped between the underground safe of the bank and the lift. This has protected her from the collapsed building, but now makes it nearly impossible to get her out. Sammy calls out to her as he's lifted to safety. Another 3 days pass before rescuers finally get to Rose. When they do, they find that she's died of her injuries. Her tragic story embodies the mood of the disaster, and the whole nation mourns her death. The Nairobi embassy bombing is the most devastating terrorist attack in African history. But who is responsible? And will they strike again? Now, by rewinding the events of that fateful day, and by going deep into the investigation, we can reveal what really happened.
And here what you can see
Special Agent Don Sackleben is the chief examiner of the forensic team sent to assist the FBI agents in the field. He's worked on major terrorist incidents, including Oklahoma City and the World Trade Center bombing of 1993. From the air, it's clear that only a massive bomb could cause devastation on this scale. This is a clue in itself for Don.
The only realistic way you can get that quantity of explosives to a bomb site is with a large vehicle like a truck.
Such a bomb leaves vital clues at the scene of the crime that could lead directly to the killers. First, investigators question witnesses and quickly learn that gunshots and small blasts were heard before the main explosion. Then, one more crucial fact emerges. At least one terrorist was seen running away from the truck before it exploded. A bomber is still at large, and he needs to be found before he strikes again. Don needs to discover the make, model, and dealer of the truck. Information that could lead investigators straight to the men behind the bombing. During an explosion, a car's metal components react differently depending on their distance from the bomb. This allows Don and his team to differentiate between debris from surrounding vehicles and that of the bomb truck. Combing through the wreckage, they find pieces that clearly come from the truck. And at least 3 eyewitnesses can identify the truck they saw at the gate. It's called a canter truck. The Mitsubishi Canter is a common truck in Kenya, but the pieces found by Don's team don't come from a canter. Don is completely baffled. But there is some good news amongst the gloom. Investigators find part of a pistol in the debris. The guards were unarmed, so this has to be from the bomber's gun. The part is called a gun slide. Traced back to its owners, it'll provide a vital lead to the terrorists. This could be the breakthrough they're looking for, if they can get the identification number.
Unfortunately, this slide doesn't have any identifying numbers on it.
Without any ID numbers, Don can't trace the pistol, so the gun is useless. The investigation throws up more questions than answers. They have a bomber on the run, an untraceable gun part, and a mystery truck they can't pin down. Then, a local office worker comes in with a clue that literally fell out of the sky. A piece of truck landed on his desk during the explosion. And as luck would have it, it has the vehicle's ID number on it. It's only partial, but it's enough to identify the truck as something very similar to a Mitsubishi Canter, a Toyota Dyna. Eventually, their perseverance pays off. They trace the truck to a poultry farmer in Mombasa, who sold it to a man named Ahmed Swedan. But the name means nothing to the FBI. Without additional information, the truck has taken them as far as it can go. Now, the Kenyan police get involved. Peter Mbuvi is the Deputy Director of CID in Nairobi. His people have to find this bomber quickly. Luckily, the Kenyan public is on his side.
Mainly, I think the Kenyans were very disappointed because here are just innocent Kenyans who have lost their lives for no apparent reason at all. So we started getting very good information from members of the public.
One comes from the most unlikely place, a local hospital called the MP Shah. A cleaner scrubbing the hospital toilets makes an unusual discovery. He finds 3 bullets that have been carefully filed down to fit a .380 caliber pistol. Suddenly, the gun slide that Don's team found at the scene starts to mean something. It belongs to a Beretta automatic .380 caliber. It's a tenuous lead, but it means that investigators have to suspect everyone who visited the MP Shah on the day of the bombing. A few days later, Kenyan police get a tip that leads them to a local hotel. They arrest a man in his room and find a hospital admission card with the pseudonym Khalid Saleh. He was treated at the hospital where the bullets were found.
We were convinced that we have got the right person. Yeah.
No one knows who this man is, but an eyewitness identifies him as the terrorist who fled the scene of the bombing. Under interrogation, he folds to the pressure and confesses. He's one of a pair of suicide bombers trained in Pakistan for the attack on the Nairobi embassy. The FBI decides to call him Al-Awali, one of his many names. He was the passenger of the truck that was driven by another terrorist named Azam, the man who set off the bomb. But Al-Awali was just a foot soldier. In his confession, he named the organization that recruited him and planned the devastating attack: Al-Qaeda. In 1998, Al-Qaeda is a shady organization, and its leader, Osama bin Laden, hasn't been elevated to the status of public enemy #1. In February 1998, bin Laden issued a fatwa stating that it was the duty of all Muslims to kill Americans in any country they could. Now the FBI is hunting for an Al-Qaeda cell operating in Nairobi. As Al-Awali is processed through police custody, another tip leads investigators to an exclusive suburban development on the outskirts of Nairobi, known as the Runda Estates. Don's team is on the scene. If they can find bomb residue in the house, it may provide the crucial link between Al-Awali and the bomb site.
Walking into the front door of Rundu Estates, the first thing I notice is the smell. It's the smell of cleaning fluid. Someone has gone through this place and tried to clean it from top to bottom, but they didn't clean everywhere. They certainly didn't clean the tops of the doors. So that's the place we go to for our swabs.
They recover evidence from a number of places. It's sealed in airtight bags and shipped to FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. There, chemists find traces of TNT, another explosive called PETN, and aluminium in the residue, the same elements found in samples from the bombing site. This provides forensic confirmation of Al-Awali's testimony and allows the FBI to make a case against the bomber and 2 of his accomplices in custody. Now, by rewinding the events leading up to that fateful day and following the extensive investigation, we can finally reveal how Al-Qaeda carried out its first major international terrorist act. August 2nd, 1998. 5 days from disaster. Al-Qaeda terrorist Al-Awali arrives in Nairobi. 4 days from disaster, Azam arrives from an Al-Qaeda training camp in Pakistan to drive the fatal truck. August 7th, 1998. 54 minutes from disaster. The truck leaves 43 Runda estates, loaded with 3 tons of explosives mixed with aluminium. 29 minutes to disaster. The truck stops in front of the drop barrier. Al-Awali leaps from the truck to threaten the guards, but forgets his jacket and pistol. All he can do is verbally threaten them. When they refuse to open the gate, he runs back to the truck and tells Azam to use the gun. Al-Awali hurls his stun grenades in all directions. Then panics and makes a run for it. The explosion shatters all the windows within a 3-block radius. More than 4,000 people are injured, and another 213 are dead, 12 of them Americans. Al-Awali survives, but his back is injured. He hobbles away from the bomb site to the hospital, where he disposes of any incriminating evidence. He's arrested 5 days later. Al-Awali and 3 other accomplices are put on trial in America and convicted. For Prudence Bushnell, one of the tragedies is that the bombings failed to act as a warning.
We just didn't learn enough about how Al-Qaeda operates and the intensity of their hatred toward us and the willingness to take extraordinary measures to kill Americans.
Three years later, her words became realized to devastating effect. A memorial now stands on the grounds of the new US Embassy, which was built on the outskirts of Nairobi. The site of the old embassy is now a memorial park, reminding us that the unsung heroes of the war against terror are ordinary people like George Mimba, who heroically rose to the occasion, but will be forever haunted by those seconds from disaster.